मुदितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्. By the infinite grace of the Lord Krishna and Sri Ramakrishna, we are pursuing the study of the Bhagavadgita. So we have already commenced the fourth chapter. In the fourth chapter, the Lord says, I have gone through many births. O Arjuna, you also have crossed many births. But you don't know about these births, but I do know. That is the difference between you and mine. That is why it is very consistent, very logical to say, it is I who have instructed this yoga to Vivaswan, or the sun god. And also he continues, Ajopi sannavyayatma. Though I am birthless, I am the eternal soul, I am the Ishvara, the ruler of all the beings. I take birth by own Atma Maya. Maya means here the power of the Lord. So there are two interpretations of the Maya in our tradition. In Advaitic tradition, Maya is pure illusion. Just like we see snake on the rope, that is Maya. But in the Bhakti tradition, Bhagavata tradition, especially in the Bhagavad Gita, Maya means Prakriti, the God's power, which has manifested at this world. So through the power of the Maya, I hold on to my own Prakriti, and through the Maya, my own Maya, that Maya is not different from me. So there is a concept in several traditions, Shakti and Shaktimat. So you have that concept in Shakta tradition as well as the Vaishnava tradition. What is Shakti? The power of the God. Who is Shaktimat? One who is having the Shakti is Shaktimat. Then what is the difference between Shakti and Shaktimat? Absolutely no. The Shakti is an expression of the Shaktimat. The whole world, the universe, is an expression of the God. The Upanishad says, Ishavasyam idam sarvam. We have to cover everything with God. So, Prakritim Swamavishtabhya, taking the support or holding on to the Prakriti, that is my own power, I take birth through my power. So, what is the difference between two words here? Ontologically, substantially, they are one and the same. But Prakriti here denotes the power of the God. Through my power, I take birth. This is the meaning. And what is the significance Atma Mayaya? Here Atma Maya more emphasis is given here on delusion power. The Maya is something deludes us. It gives an illusory experience. Though God is birthless and He is an eternal self, He is the ruler of the universe. Ajopi san avyayatma bhutanam ishvaropi san atma mayaya srujami atma mayaya sambhavami. So, by the deluding power of my own prakriti or maya, I take birth. That means the birth is not something real one. It is the delusion, it is through the delusion people think I am born to Devaki in Vasudeva. So, this is how we have to understand this shloka. The next shloka, it is under our consideration now. When I am going to be born, what is the duration, what is the period in which I take birth? Krishna says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuttanam adharmasya tada atmanam srujamyaham. So glani means decline, a corruption in practicing dharma. Dharmasya glanihi means it is not exactly the decline or the corruption in dharma. It is corruption of the people who are supposed to follow the dharma. The Brahmanas were supposed to follow the dharma, and they are the guiding lights. They were supposed to be the guiding lights for the entire society. When there is a corruption in their practices, it may be called dharmasya glanihi. So it is dharma is an abstract idea. Dharma is expressed through the conduct and the behavior and attitude and the understanding prevalent in the people of that period, especially those who are devoted to studies, tapas, and other spiritual practices. Those who have taken this profession, it's not a profession, it is through their guna and karma. Krishna explains it later. The very idea, very tapas, very austerity and the self-study and becomes a model for the whole society, they become the Brahmanas. They are said to be the protectors of the dharma. By following that dharma, the other classes of people are also get benefited. The welfare of the whole society, the welfare of the whole world is the objective of the dharma. Udaram sarvabhuta. The whole world is one family. Vasudhaiva kutumbakam. Udara charitanantu vasudhaiva kutumbakam. Those who are of the nature whose heart is very large, they are very liberal in nature, they are compassionate towards everyone. For them, the whole world is a family. And such people are called the Brahmanas. Brahmanas are traditionally said to be the custodians of the dharma. So if they don't follow the dharma in total, that is called the dharmasya glanihi. There may be decline in the character of Kshatriyas and the Vaishyas also. When the Brahmanas get corrupted, naturally those who are dependent upon the Brahmanas for guidance on dharma, they also get corrupted. The whole society get corrupted. Sankara, Varna Sankara, etc. we have studied in the second chapter. So this is what is called dharmasya glanihi. So, what is meant by Abhyuttanam Adharma? Abhyuttana means rising above, ascendance of the adharma. So, when there is a decline of the dharma, there will be ascendance of the adharma naturally. The ascendance of the dharma is graphically described in our Puranas with kind of symbolism. What is that symbology of the adharmasya abhyuttana or the ascendance of the adharma? So we have some demonic symbols like Ravana, Kamsa, Shishupala, etc. We should not take those people very literally. Of course, there may be historical figures like Ravana, Kamsa, Shishupala, etc. But when we read the Puranas, they are to be taken figuratively. What is meant by taking figuratively? They are the symbols. They represent the decline in dharma and the ascendancy of the adharma prevalent at that time. So the Kamsa's period, if you read Bhagavata, Kamsa committed many crimes, killed his own kith and kin, but the most terrible deed he did was to disturb the social fabric of the day and destroy the social customs and religious customs of the day. That was his greatest mistake. Thus he brought about what is called dharmasya glanihi. So the period had come for the Lord to appear once again as an incarnation. So we say Krishna appeared. So this is how dharmasya glanihi should be understood. The next one is abhyuttanam adharmasya. There was no time when dharmasya glanihi happened, adharma was not in ascendance. When adharma is in attendance, that is what is called dharmasya glanihi. There is an invariable relationship. Both are substantially one and the same, ontologically one and the same. What are one and the same? Dharmasya glanihi is same as the abhyuttanam adharmasya. The ascendance of the adharma means dharmasya glanihi. Dharmasya glanihi means ascendance of the adharma. So there is absolutely no difference between them. We see in historically or otherwise in Puranic stories, when there is an ascendance of the adharma, there is naturally the decline of the dharma happens. So when there is an ascendance of the demonic forces represented by the human images like Kamsa, Ravana, etc., we find the dharmasya glanihi automatically happening, instantaneously happening. So at the same time, the same period of time, we find both dharmasya glani as well as the adharmasya abhyuttana, the decline of dharma and the ascendance of the adharma. Then Lord takes his birth. Tada srujami aham. I manifest myself. I manifest. That manifest myself, if we have said, it will be a very simple statement which everybody can understand. I will be born as a human being. That's all. But another qualification Lord adds here, Atmanam srujamyaham. This is very, very important here. What is meant by Atmanam? I myself manifest. That means the whole of my being is manifested. Of course, there is a controversy, there is a difference of opinion, whether it is possible for the Lord, who is all present, who is all knowing, Sarvajna, Sarvashaktiman, can he be born in totality? His personality in total can be manifested in a human being. That is not possible. That is why we have the concept of Amshavatara and the Purnavatara. In Amshavatara, it is said only a partial manifestation of the divine majesty takes place. So the avatars like Matsyavatara, Kurmavatara, Varahavatara, all are considered, even Ramavatara are considered to be the partial expression of the divine majesty. It is just like if you can study this phenomena in the Vedantic manner, the space is everywhere. Even then we build some walls and say this is 30 feet, this is 50 feet, this is 100 feet room, etc., etc. So that is how the partial expression or the partial manifestation of the divine majesty of the Lord takes place in the form of the avatars. So there is also a concept of Purnavatara, the total incarnation. Incarnation or the birth of a human being who has all the divine majesty in him. But it is impossible, or logically it is said to be incongruent. But still the Vaishnavas and those who follow the Bhagavata, they say the whole of the Lordness or the whole of the divine majesty of the Lord Vishnu is manifested in Krishna. Api amshakalaha sarve itaraha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is Bhagavan himself, they say. But in Bhagavata itself, in other places, Krishna is not a complete manifestation of the Godhead. Krishna is also a partial manifestation of the Godhead. But logically speaking, we can take incarnation as a partial manifestation or a kind of partial expression of the divine glory, the divine majesty, the divine power of the Supreme Paramatman called Ishvara. So that is why Krishna here says, Atmanam, I myself will be born. It is not that I make some others to born, I take some other form to be born. I myself will be born. So in some bodies, in somebody I take birth or I express myself. It is called Matsyavasara, perhaps it is in the form of a fish. So it is in the form of a boar or the pig, we call it as Varahavatara. And in some avatars, like he is born in the womb of the Kausalya to Dasharatha, and he is called the Lord Sri Rama. Now he is called the Lord Krishna, that's all. So I myself will be born. So it is a divine mystery. And Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam Yo Veti, that we are going to read now. In that shloka, we will understand the significance of the divine mystery of the Lord. So the next shloka, the purpose of the divine incarnation. What is the purpose? Why the Lord should be born? Lord can himself destroy the wicked and protect the virtuous people. And why he should be born as a human being? So the purpose or the objective of incarnation we shall find in the next shloka, the 8th shloka of the 4th chapter. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkrutam dharma samstapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So we have to divide this shloka into 4 parts. What is the purpose? Sadhunam paritranaya. What is meant by protection of the sadhus? Why the sadhus should be protected? Who are all these sadhus? These questions creep in us. We have to write these questions to find suitable answers in the Bhagavadgita. Here, sadhus mean those who are protecting the dharma. So we have to remember the famous saying, Dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. One who protects the dharma, dharma will protect him. And those who are protecting the dharma, not by mere words or discourses, by their conduct, by their very lifestyle, by their penances, by their meditations, by their worships, by their austerity, by their self-study. So what are the means of the spiritual practice? Those who are following that is called the sadhus here. So sadhus have to be protected so that the dharma can be protected. This is the idea. So if Krishna wants to protect the dharma in his incarnation as Krishna, he has to protect the dharma. So how to protect the dharma? By protecting those who are protecting the dharma or the following the dharma. That is why he happened to kill several demons. As I told you repeatedly, these demons, killing of the demons are all mainly symbolic in nature. Killing the demonic instincts in the society or in particularly individually in a human being, it is called the killing of the demons. So this is the meaning of paritranaya sadhunam. Vinashaya cha dushkrutam. It is easier for us to understand what is meant by killing or destroying the demonic people. Dushkrutam. Here demonic people is not mentioned, but those who are following the wrong path. Krutam means those who are doing, performing. What kind of actions they are performing? They are performing or they are following the wrongful deeds. They are into evil ways. And why should Krishna come all the way from Vaikuntha and takes birth in this Bhuloka and kill those demonic people? Because they symbolize demonic tendency in human being. Ravana is not an independent figure here. Ravana resides in the hearts of everyone. Ravana resides in the minds of everyone. The tendency Ravana expressed, the evil tendency, the vulgar tendency, the demonic tendency, the corrupt tendency that lies in our own heart, in our own minds. So we should allow Rama to kill Ravana. That means we should allow Rama to kill our own evil instinct. That is the lesson we have to derive from Ramayana. So in the case of the Krishna, Krishna killed so many demons. He killed Kamsa, he killed Shishupala, he killed so many other demons. Means all these demonic ideas, demonic thoughts, demonic tendencies are latent in our mind because we are very ordinary people. We do not know there is something demon hidden in our own mind, though we pretend to be very good people. So when we are reading Bhagavata, we should feel or we should think that let Krishna come and kill my demonic tendencies in it. There is Shishupala within us, there is Kamsa within us, there is other demons within us. So whatever king the demons killed, Krishna killed, all the demons are in the form of evil thoughts within us. So for that purpose, Krishna has appeared or the incarnation appears. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkrutam. What happens when the incarnation destroys those who are on the wrong path and protect those who are following the virtuous path. That is what is meant by Dharma Samstapana. Samstapana means establishing. Dharma means righteousness. The righteousness was already established. There was decline of righteousness. There was dwindling influence of the righteousness in the society. That is why the incarnation appears. In Avatarana, the literal meaning of Avatarana is descendant. He descends on the earth and he takes the human birth. So the real meaning of Dharma Samstapana, as we have seen, is Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya cha Dushkrutam. This is what happened in the modern incarnation like Sri Ramakrishna. But Sri Ramakrishna did not kill any physical demon, but according to Swami Vivekananda, Sri Ramakrishna killed a bigger demon, a universal demon, a more powerful demon, more vilest of the demons. And who is that? The doubt in the minds of the pious people. Samshaya Rakshasa Nasha Mahantam Viret. Samshaya Rakshasa was prevalent about the Dharma, about the virtuousness, about God. There was lingering doubt even among the pious people, even among the devoted, let alone agnostics, at the time of incarnation of the Lord Sri Ramakrishna. So the destruction of the doubt, the lingering doubt, prevailing doubt among the followers of the Dharma was the work done by Sri Ramakrishna according to Swami Vivekananda. That Swami Vivekananda describes as Dharma Samstapana, Stapakaya cha Dharmasya, etc. So in the case of Sri Rama, so in the case of Sri Krishna and other incarnation. This is the meaning of the Dharma Samstapana, or the establishing of the Dharma. O Lord, when you will be born? I have already told you when I will be born. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati. When there is a decline in dharma and the ascendancy of the adharma, I will be born. Oh, it is not so. Yuge yuge, he says, in every age. That means in every age there will be some situations, there will be conditions when there will be ascendancy of the adharma and the decline of the dharma. So in that period, in every age, how to understand this every age? Every age means what? It is Kruta Yuga, according to Indian tradition, some 1,000 years of Kruta Yuga, some 1,000 years of the Treta Yuga, some 1,000 years of the Dwapara Yuga, some hundreds of years of the Kali Yuga. So in every age I will be born. I will be born in Treta Yuga, Kruta Yuga, as well as Dwapara Yuga and the Kali Yuga. This is one way of understanding what is meant by Yuge Yuge. But there is another idea proposed by Swami Vireshanandaji Maharaj. He gives the idea of the Zeitist, Zeitist. What is meant by Zeitist? There is some particular period of time when that particular idea is prevalent, or there will be an influence of a powerful person, a noble person in that period. So generally 500 years is that period, they say in historical terms. So probably that is one particular age belongs to a particular idea or the influence of a particular superhuman being. So Sri Rama was born probably some 500 years or so was his period. Then Krishna was born, the power of influence was around 500 years, like that. Buddha was born then. So this is the deitistic idea also can be taken into consideration. Whatever it is very interesting to know the incarnation is born, not born at one particular time, only once at a time, once in the whole history of the humankind. In our tradition, he will be born again and again and again, because the dharmasya glani and adharmasya abhyuttana, the decline of dharma and the ascendancy of adharma happens frequently, and whenever that happens, the Lord takes his birth as a human being. So the next shloka is very, very interesting shloka. Krishna says here, Janma karma cha me divyam yo vetti tattvataha evam yo vetti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma neti mameti sorjuna. So there are two statements the Lord makes here. First one is my dharma, my janma and my karma. Let us take the example of two personalities we know very well. One is the Lord Krishna himself, another is Sri Ramakrishna. The Lord's birth is a mystery. As we read in the Bhagavata on Krishna Janmashtami, he was a mind-born person. He was not born out of the contact between Devaki and Vasudeva. It was not a product of their intermingling as such. So he was a mind-born being. So Bhagavata says, Krishna appeared first in the mind of the Vasudeva, then he was transferred to the womb of the Devaki. That was the description here. So his birth is something divine. So the birth of Sri Ramakrishna. In Sri Ramakrishna's case, the Chandramani's age was almost 40, 45 and she was overaged. Even at that age, she was able to give birth to Sri Ramakrishna or the Gadadhar. And Sri Ramakrishna as if entered into the heart and the mind of his parents as if. So if you study the mind of Chandramani Devi at the birth of Sri Ramakrishna, after the birth and before the birth, and the divine effulgence she was showing, and attractive personality she had before the birth of her divine child, all these indicate the birth of Sri Ramakrishna is divya. It is a secret, it is a rahasya. And of course the deeds or the works they have done, Sri Ramakrishna and Sri Krishna. And Sri Krishna always upheld dharma, he lived for others, he lived for dharma. Whatever he did was to uphold the efficacy of the dharma. So in the case of Sri Ramakrishna was born in this world to show the world that God realization is possible. Even in this modern scientific world, it is possible to realize God. And he assured Narendra, not only I have seen God just like or more clearly than I am seeing now, I can even show you the God. This is the assurance Sri Ramakrishna gives to the whole humanity. So this is in essence the divya karma and divya janma. Divya means divine esoteric, something very valuable, something extraordinary, Divya Karma and the Divya Janma. Evam, in this way means the way I have shown me. So that is articulated in the previous two shlokas. Yada yada hi dharmasya paritranaya sadhunam ajopi sannavyayatma. These all indicate the great purpose behind the divine janma and divine karma of the great Lord. Evam yo vetti tattvataha, in their very nature, accurately. Tattvataha means the accurate knowledge of the reality is called the tattva. So when we say tattva, tattva also means the reality, and tattvataha means knowing, understanding in its exactitude. The real nature of a thing is called the tattvataha. Truly, as they are in reality, that is called tattvataha. So he who knows thus, as described above, the true nature, true reality of my birth as well as my deeds, through divyam, divine, supernatural birth, which is of Maya. So this is a very interesting commentary here by Shankaracharya. The Acharya says it is through Maya only the Janma of the divine incarnation happens, not in reality. So it is the deluding power of the Maya that makes us misunderstand that Krishna is a human being born in Devaki. Krishna has no birth, but through his Maya he makes us to forgetful his own real nature, makes us to acknowledge that Krishna is someone, a human being born in Devaki. So here the janma karma cha me divyam yo vetti tattvataha means understanding the true significance of the incarnation. The incarnation is not a real one, it is only a product of the Maya, it is an occurrence of the Maya. The Lord remains in his true form, but he appears as if as a human being for a definite purpose. So this is the meaning of the first line. One who knows the divine janma, the birth and the karma and the deeds or the actions of an incarnation in its exact nature of the deed and the janma or the birth of an incarnation, what happens to him? Taktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti pandava. He will leave the body. Deham taktva. It happens to everyone. Whether he is a jnani or ajnani, everyone has to die today or tomorrow. It is the destiny waiting for us. But in the case of a jnani, so we have four kinds of bhaktas. Krishna says, Arto jidnasur artarti jnani cha bharatashabha. So among them, yesham jnani nitya yuktaha eka bhakti uchyate, Krishna says. So a jnani is one who has developed ekanta bhakti. That means he sees nothing but God and he serves nothing but God. He has in his mind nothing but God, and such a person is ekanta bhakta. A jnani only can be an ekanta bhakta. Why? Because jnani knows I am not different from the Lord. My Atman is the same as the Paramatman. I and my beloved are one and the same. The Radha used to feel that I and my Krishna are one and the same. I am not different from Krishna. This is the highest stage of the bhakti. You will see very interestingly the highest stage of the bhakti and highest stage of the prema, highest stage of the knowledge are one and the same. There is no difference. From non-identification or separation, we start the sadhana and we end up, the sadhana culminates in perfect identification. The total identification you will find. So, identification of the knower and the known. Knower is the sadhaka or the bhakta or the jnani, and the known is the Paramatman himself. In this case, he will feel my being, my life, my individuality, my entity as a human being have been completely merged in the divine consciousness, and that is the state of identification Krishna is speaking here. So, Neiti mam punarjanma neiti. He will not be born again. There is no need for him to born again. Why we should be born again? Why there is punarjanma is prescribed in our scriptures? Because we have a load of karma. We are carrying the burden of karma. So in order to enjoy the fruits of the karma that we have done in this life, we have to be born again. Otherwise, there is no reason for us to be born again at all. Even the creation has the same purpose. The sum total of all the karmas or the actions that need to be enjoyed, that need to be experienced, that is why there is a cycle, there is a kalpa theory. The universe is manifested again and again and again, and after 4 yugas, Kruta Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga and Kali Yuga, it will merge into the God again, that is called Pralaya. Once again, the total amount or the total abundance of that karma phala, etc., will give rise to the new creation. That is the concept of the time, concept of creation according to Indian tradition. But in the case of Jnani, who has understood the real significance, real secret, real knowledge, the exact nature of the divine janma and the divine karma, divya karma and divya janma, divine deeds and the divine birth of Lord Krishna, or for that matter any incarnation, will not be born again, because there is no residue of the karma left in him. All the karmas are exhausted, rather all the karmas are burnt. Jnanagnihi sarva karmani bhasmasat kurute Arjuna, Krishna says. So where he will go then? Mam eti sorjuna. He will attain me alone. What is meant by attainment of the God? So we can discuss attainment of the God in 2 realms. One is in Advaitic realm and another is from the Bhaktas realm, or according to Bhakti Shastras. According to Advaitic realm, he understands, the Jnani understands, I am not different from Ishvara. Ishvara is pure consciousness, Shuddha Chaitanya, Nitya Shuddha Mukta Chaitanya, and I am also Nitya Shuddha Mukta Chaitanya. The whatever qualities I have are due to avidya or the ignorance. And whatever noble qualities like Sarvajna, Sarvashaktiman, all these qualities of Ishvara are also due to Maya. When the Maya or the avidya is eradicated, what remains is the pure consciousness. So I am not different from my beloved. I am the beloved. I am Krishna, as Radha says. So this is the Advaitic point of attaining the God. Mam eti, he attains me. What is meant by attainment? That is what we are discussing now. But according to Vaishnava school, there are 4 stages. In fact, they say there are 5 stages, and the stages we will discuss only 3 stages here. The first stage is Salokya stage. So, our convenience, we shall discuss only 3 stages here. One is the Salokya stage, the entering into the abode of the God. Suppose if you say Vaikuntha is the abode of the God, I am entering into the world or the abode of the God. This is called Salokya. And next one is Samipya. Even if you enter into the world of the God or the abode of the God, you may not be nearer to God. Your mind or your entity as a human being or individual, you have kept little bit. You have not yet come into proximity with God. That proximity with the God, going nearer to God spiritually, and feeling the nearness of the God is what is called Samipya. So we have Salokya and then Samipya, and lastly, my individuality I lose completely, only Lord's glory or Lord effulgent nature as pure consciousness remain. I have lost my individuality. So Kuvempu says in one of his beautiful poems, Tanuvu ninnadu, manavu ninnadu, enna jivana ghanavu ninnadu, nanu ninnavanemba ಜ್ಞಾನದ ಅರಿವಿನ ತೃಣವು ಮಾತ್ರವು ಎನ್ನದು. So that is the state where one completely merges in the consciousness of God. I and you get lost, and only I, you remains. The Lord only remains. The similar idea you will find in the description of Samadhi in Patanjali Yoga, Artha Matra Nirbhasa. Only the meditating object remains. The feeling or the experience or the awareness or the consciousness of I am meditating will vanish. I am meditating on Sri Ramakrishna, that we start with, but ultimately in Samadhi state, I am meditating on. I am as a meditator, and the process of meditation, both will get destroyed. Only Sri Ramakrishna remains. And this is what is termed as Samadhi in Yoga Sutra. So in different ways we can understand the meaning of Mam Eti. Saha Mam Eti. Saha means he. He means the Jnani. He is considered to be the foremost of the devotees. Krishna says, I belong to Jnani and Jnani belong to me. I am very dear to Jnani and Jnani is very dear to me, because there is absolutely no difference between Jnani, the foremost of the bhaktas, and the me. Krishna says further, this is not just a theory. It was practiced, this yoga was practiced in ancient period, and there were many great souls who have attained me through this means. And he says in this context, Bahavo jnana tapasa Vitaraga bhaya krodha manmaya mamupashritaha bahavo jnana tapasa putaha madbhavam agataha. So there are beautiful epithets or the qualifications of the realized soul who have attained Lord Ishvara Krishna in the past. What are their qualifications? Why Krishna is describing them? So that we can also practice that. And what are the qualifications? Vita ragaha, Vita bhayaha, and Vita krodhaha. Those who are free from the raga or attachment, a kind of passion that connects us with the outside world. We are bound by this raga. Raga is also compared to a kind of rope that binds us. Vita bhayaha. It is another kind of passion where we are clinging to our body, where we cling to our minuscule individuality, and we always think we are going to die or our individuality will be lost. That fear of losing ourselves, fear of being a non-entity always lingers on that from birth to the death, and this is called bhaya. And lastly, krodha. Kama and krodhas are two expressions of the same thing. Krishna has already told us, Kama yesha, krodha yesha, rajoguna samudbhavaha. This is sometimes called kama, the desire, sometimes called the krodha, the anger. When desires are obstructed, it transforms into krodha. Here we can also mean Vita Kama also, because Vita Krodha is mentioned. Kama is another expression of the Krodha. Krodha is a different kind of expression of the Kama, that's all. By Yoga Sutra, we read an aphorism of the Sutra. What are the kleshas? Patanjali classifies the mental vrittis or the mental modes or the thoughts arise in our mind into two. One classification is klesha vritti, those thoughts which give rise to affliction or suffering, misery. In plain words, those thoughts which make us suffer, miserable, feeling difficulty is called the klesha vritti. And there are some other kinds of thoughts which are called aklishta vritti. Those who are favorable to us, those who give us semblance of happiness or joy, they are called aklishta vritti. But for the yogi, both klesha vritti and aklesha vrittis are sarvam dukkham vivekinaha. Vyasa says in his commentary, for the common man there are two types of thoughts, two classification of the thought. For the yogi, all kinds of thoughts bear the stamp of suffering or the misery alone. So what are the klesha vrittis? The klesha vrittis are 5 in number. The first being avidya, ignorance, asmita or identification with the non-self, that is called ahankara, identification with body and identification with the mind. That identification or the wrong identification is the offshoot of the ignorance. Ignorance about my real nature as Atman or the Brahman. And from asmita, passions arise. Passions are of two types. If something is favorable to us, an object gives me a semblance of happiness or the joy, we want it more and more. Suppose some experience gives us joy. It makes us joyful. We want it again and again, and we want it more and more. That is called clinging to that kind of experience or an object and wanting it to be happening again and again frequently is called raga, attachment towards the object or that experience. And in contrast, there are some occasions, there are some experiences, as well as there are some hundreds of things which are unfavorable to us, or rather they give misery to us, they make us suffer, and we don't want them. We try to avoid them, and we develop a kind of repulsion or hatred towards them. And such a feeling is called dvesha, hatred. Attachment is raga, and the dvesha or repulsion towards unwanted things. So those we like, we want to repeat it. Ishta, ishte, ragaha, Patanjali says. Ishte, in favorable objects or the condition, we develop attachment, and in our unfavorable condition or the unfavorable objects which gives us suffering or misery, we develop a kind of hatred. That hatred is called here dvesha. And of course, we have just discussed abhinivesha. Abhinivesha is generally translated as fear of death, but in Vyasa Bhashya it is described as clinging to life. Because we have died thousands of times already. It is not our first birth. We have been born, and again we have taken birth, and we have gone through the process of death several times. It is said in the Vyasa Bhashya, death is not something miserable or very painful, but the process of death, the experience we have just before going to die, before the death, that is very, very painful, that we don't want to repeat it again. That is why when you prick a child's body, it starts crying, it starts wailing. Even the child feels that. Child wants to protect its body. And even the old people also do not want to die. Even after 80, 90, they want to live longer, still longer. They would like to prolong their lifespan. Why? They don't want to die. Not because of the death per se, because the process of dying is very, very painful. So those who are free from that, only Jnani can be free from that, about whom we have studied in the previous shloka, Janma karma chaye divyam yo evam yo vetti tattvataha tektva deham punarjanma naiti mameti. Punarjanma naiti. He will not attain rebirth. He will not be born again. Instead, he will attain me. Naiti mameti Arjuna. Such a jnani is devoid of the raga, all kinds of passion, including attachment, and he is devoid of the bhaya. He doesn't cling to his life or the body's survival. He is free from every kind. Why the bhaya? Only I am speaking of the fear of death. Because the fear of death is fundamental to all kinds of fear. Fear of losing myself. Suppose if I lose my money, I am afraid of losing my wealth, losing my money, losing my position, losing my relatives. I am afraid of losing my car, my mobile phone. That fear of losing, as if I am lost. I am become nobody. There is nothing left in me. These are all stupid ideas according to Vedanta. Because you are Atman, Nitya, Shuddha, Mukta, Swarupa. You are of the eternal nature, spiritual consciousness. In second chapter itself, Bhagavadgita, Krishna says, you are the eternal Purusha. Fire cannot burn you, the water cannot wet you, the wind cannot dry you. All these ideas we have read. Atman remains. Atman alone abides. Atman always will be there. So if I can identify with Atman, there will be no raga at all, no passion, vita raga. Only a knower of Brahman or Atman will become vita raga, vita bhaya, as well as vita kama, and therefore vita krodha. We shall continue with this verse in the next class. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu.